Whoa. Okay, Marvin, Miles, I want to shrink you, put you in a pocket, and have you at every single event and open while we enter. Can we give them another round of applause? You are wonderful. Good Creative Mornings, everyone. My name is Tina Roth-Eisenberg. I'm the founder of Creative Mornings and your New York City chapter host. And I'm welcoming you today from the ancestral land of the Lenape people. And we here at Creative Mornings HQ recognize the significance of Brooklyn and New York City for Lenape people, past and present. It is such a delight to be back here at the new Tishman at Parsons School of Design. Anthony, where did you go? There he is. Anthony, there he is. He's a legend because he's been supporting us and hosting us for over a decade. Can we give Anthony a round of applause? And fun fact, when I was in high school in Switzerland, I was dreaming of coming to Parsons. My parents kind of shut that thing down, then I became a graphic designer in Europe, and then when I graduated, I was like, I'm going to New York. And guess what? A few years later, I was invited to be part of the faculty, and I started teaching here. And now I'm putting events on here, so let this be a lesson that sometimes you wish for something, but it comes in a whole different package. So here we are at Parsons. And Parsons is a real force in the art and design school world, and if you're curious to see behind the curtain, there's currently an ongoing Parsons Festival that gives you the chance to do so. It showcases and celebrates the creative achievements of Parsons graduating students right now, and we will link in the follow-up email to the calendar. Go check out the events that are happening. Keep checking back because they're adding new ones regularly. It's well worth it. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Team IT, Mark and Flat, and everyone for making these events so wonderful, generously, and smooth. 30-second pitches. Exa, who is getting the mic today?
Okay, everyone. These are the folks who we will ask to come down to right over here to my left after Q&A. So we've got Desmond, Mark Wiseman, Cully, and Fiona Lanning. Find me over here.
Thank you. 30-second pitches make me so happy. They're secretly my favorite part of the event because you are all so consistently so interesting in what you share. So yay you all, and yay for being brave to put your name into the pitch wheel. Okay, by raise of hands, who is at a Creative Mornings event for the first time right now? Ooh, there's so many of you. Welcome. I am totally willing to give you a hug afterwards if you wanted, just to know how welcome you are. And so first-timers often don't realize that actually all of these dots on this map represent a chapter that is run by generous volunteers to gather their local creative community. So we have over 1,000 volunteers around the world in 70 countries and that put on events in over 240 cities every month for free. And one of these very special volunteers is currently visiting from Seattle. His name is Jeremy Wheat. He has been an organizer and a co-host for a whopping 11 years. He's a total OG. So Jeremy agreed to read the manifesto for us today. Our Creative Mornings manifesto reminds us of our values and why we do what we do at Creative Mornings. So Jeremy, please take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in the neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Thank you.
I always get really emotional when I meet the volunteers that I normally only see on our Zoom meetups from around the world, so it means so much that you're here, Jeremy. So I started Creative Mornings 17 years ago to find my people when I moved here and I didn't know anyone. And today, it's a global labor of love, celebrating human connection and creativity. And I believe our events are pure rituals of optimism. And Creative Mornings is as vibrant as it is because so many of you are generously contributing your energy, time, and skills to it. Our volunteers, our speakers, our venue hosts, our musical guests, the tech teams, and also you for showing up and making time. And then we have organizations and individuals that, in addition, help us with our financial needs. Our patron and our local and global partners, and I want to give them a note of thanks right now. So Adobe joined us in November as a global partner, as they recognize the impact Creative Mornings is having on the global ecosystem of creativity. They're deeply connected, they're deeply committed to support the creative community around the world. And the photos coming in from all of our chapter events around the world where they're giving a head nod to Adobe make me super happy. We're working closely with the team at Adobe to create content programming that is helpful. And fun fact, next week we're launching it's a series called Level Up. It's about 24 field trips that are coming your way with an incredible lineup of helpful workshops on how to level up professionally in all kinds of aspects of your life. So now, no matter where you are in your creative journey, we think there's going to be something useful for you. So thank you, Adobe. And then I want to send an enormously big thank you to Ruth Ann Harnish from the Harnish Foundation, who made history last year when she became our first ever patron. And Ruth Ann's support is not just financial, it is a reflection of her deep belief in people and their potential. And I believe Ruth Ann is currently tuning in on the live stream, and I hope, Ruth Ann, you're cozy with a cup of coffee in bed. Thank you for your generous support. Speaking of coffee, are you glad we welcome you with a cup of coffee when you arrive? Me too. Our local partners help us cover the cost for our events here in New York and also to make sure that we have coffee and breakfast. So let's go and thank them. First off, our beloved, beloved, beloved MPB. They care so deeply about visual storytelling in a way that's good for people and the planet. And they make it so easy to give your unused camera gear a new life. So if you have an old camera, an old video camera, an old lens sitting in a drawer, just set them free on mpb.com or purchase a used camera. And last week alone, they added 4,000 items to their catalog, which is impressive. Every night before, like the night when I make the slides on Thursdays before the event, I usually fall into a deep rabbit hole on MPB. And last night, I fell in love with this Fujifilm camera, so here we are. Thank you, MPB, for being such a wonderful partner. And then there's our long-standing partner, Harvest. They're just like us, a New York City-based company, and I love that they are making me think about time. And I'm a lover of quotes, as you probably can tell if you've been to some of our events. And I always think of Harvest when I come across a quote that is time-related, and I keep a secret stash of them. And this one I really love. Art is how we decorate space. Music is how we decorate time, by Jean-Michel Basquiat. So if you also have to think about time in your day-to-day, if you need a simple and beautiful way to track your time, your expenses, your invoices, check out getharvest.com. It's a really wonderful tool. They make it really easy, and it's just a great tool for small businesses or independent creatives. And it's run by wonderful, generous humans. So thank you, Harvest. All right. My favorite thing to do before the event is I click on who's attending. By the way, you can do that too. It's on the event page. And then I click through the profiles and I see what you share and your favorite gifts and all. And there's so many here today that I couldn't fit you all on the slide. Timothy, you're a very popular chap, you know. This event was waitlisted, so congrats, you made it. But a lot of you come alone. And some of you are probably also coming to make a friend. So let's play a game so we can get a sense of who's in the room. It's my favorite thing ever. It's called Stand Up If. It's like real-time data visualization. So I'm going to project statements to the screen, and if they apply to you, if you can, please stand up. If you can't stand up, just raise your hand. So, shall we? Stand up if you are proud of yourself for getting up early and socialize at 8:30 on a Friday. Yes. Stand up if you have made a friend at Creative Mornings. This is why I started this, and it's working. We only have one metrics we track at Creative Mornings. It's ROF, Return on Friendship. Stand up if you're visiting from another city. Ooh, so many of you. Okay, let's play a game. Who thinks they came the farthest? Where do you come from? Oh. I love how everyone else just gave up and sat back down. Stand up if you're personally at a crossroads right now. Ooh. Timothy's standing up too. We can't wait to hear about it. Stand up if you're for hire. Okay, now, stand up if your company is hiring. Okay, we gotta get these two groups synced up somehow. Thank God we have a job board. Oh, I didn't click, whatever. Stand up if you have attended a Creative Mornings club. I love you. I love you. Okay, stand up if you have no idea what clubs are. Oh, not that many. That's cool. Because anyway, I'm going to tell you about them right now. Clubs has been our latest experiment in creating more connection within our community. Clubs are community-led, hyper-local, intimate gatherings around something you love. So anyone can raise their hand and say, I want to host a club. So if there's something you love and you'd love to do it with other people, and in return make some friends, consider hosting a club. Like Lenny, who has been hosting the legendary Dumpling Club. Where's Lenny? He's right there. And I'm going to hit you with some stats because we're so excited, because this is the 1-year anniversary of us announcing this experiment this month. Since the pilot started in April 2024, we have had a total of 217 club meetups. We currently have a total of 31 clubs here in New York, and we had 5,900 people attend the club since we launched. Isn't that great? So when someone raises their hand and said, I think I want to host a club, we tell them they have to host at least 4 meetups. Usually people go a little bit, woo. But then, people start hosting, and guess what? What happens? They don't want to stop, because we filled a room with really kind, lovely humans, and they go like, ooh, this feels good. And now most of the clubs that have started are hitting almost a year mark, like, for example, Nelson. Nelson is, right? Nelson is the best. He's hitting his 1-year anniversary in May for Photocopals. Fun fact, when he started Photocopals, he had an average of 17 tickets signing up for his event. In the last 5 events, his average number of tickets has been 40, with at least 10 people waitlisted each time. Nelson, that's him, right there. He's a legend. And then Right Shop is a club I co-host with Katie, and in the beginning we had about 20 signups. I mean, to begin with, that we had signups blows my mind. But it was 20 in the beginning, and now it's about 38 every month, every time we have a meetup, and with at least 20 people waitlisted. So clearly, you all want this, and it's safe to say that the clubs experiment has been a huge success. I believe that a community is not a community until it self-organizes, and with clubs, we have really reached a new level of what I aspire Creative Mornings to be, that is entirely community-led at some point. So we have built a bona fide friendship engine in a time where 1 out of every 2 Americans is experiencing loneliness. And clubs have a heartbeat, they have a cadence, they allow for depth of connection, and that's why they're so successful. So check out clubs on our site, see what's upcoming, go attend one, be brave, host your own. You won't regret it, I promise you. And yesterday, we unlocked 3 more cities, and San Francisco, Winnipeg, and Austin. And you're probably wondering, Winnipeg? Well, let me tell you, they were running in our doors. They were saying, we have 7 clubs up and running. Can we go, please? So at this point, if you rally enough people in your city to host clubs, we might just unlock that city. But I didn't say that. Christina, you didn't hear that. And I want to say as well that without the generous support of our patron Ruth Ann Harnish, we would not have been able to put money towards building our clubs. And I just want to thank her personally so much for helping us experiment in a new way. And thank you all for attending clubs. As you can tell, I love clubs, and I love you because you are such a fun community to experiment with because you actually show up. We put something new in front of you, and you go, yay, let's go. So thank you all so much. Yeah, you can applaud for yourself. All right, Timothy, you're probably thinking, let me get that mic ready. So let's get to the main portion of the event. Our April theme is Crossroads, and globally around the world, all the chapters pick a speaker on that topic, and it is presented by our global partner, Adobe. Timothy, I am so happy to introduce you. I don't really need to introduce you because everyone here is probably going like, I know who he is. Artist, author, designer, and all-around hard-on-his-sleeve human, as I will call him. Timothy's work lives on the intersection of vulnerability and boldness, and he turns his rare gift of turning emotion into art that connects us all. And I have to say, his joyful response to when I invited him to speak is something I will never forget. Thank you for appreciating the invitation with so much love. Thank you, Timothy. So please join me and give a rock star round of applause for Timothy Goodman and his supporting band, Marvin and Maz, who I think might be playing again? No? Yes? Did I just mess that up? No, we're good. Supporting band, Marvin and Maz.
That star Kevin Durant just released his 15th signature shoe, and while it's being sold by Nike, the shoe was actually designed by a New York-based independent artist.
Pretty cool. Fox 5's Jennifer Williams introduces us to Timothy Goodman.
Timothy Goodman, Timothy Goodman, Timothy Goodman.
This is Timothy Goodman. When he was 12, he pulled a marker out of a stone, and since then, he has become an artist, graphic designer, muralist, and person that's learning French. Look, I don't want to start rumors, but I've never seen Timothy and Banksy in the same room. I'm not.
What's up? What's up, New York? Oh my God. It's so good. Wait, is this working? Oh, yeah, okay. It's so good to be here. I don't even know the last time I spoke in New York City, so thank you so much for coming here. I want to just do a couple housekeeping things. I want to thank Tina, of course, because I was just like, I couldn't believe, I'd like to get this auditorium. This place is beautiful. Like, this is where you want to give a talk, right? And all your smiling faces, it's so nice. But thank you to Tina, thank you to CreativeMornings and all the volunteers who put this on for all of us. It's such an incredible community to be a part of and to interact with, so I'm just so honored, you know? Thank you to all of you for coming out. I don't have a lot of time, I only have like 20 minutes, so I wanted to play that sizzle reel because I'm not gonna be able to talk about like 90% of that shit. So I just want to remind you, I'm kind of cool. I've done a lot of things over the years. I've done some things over the years, you know. All of those things could each, like, you know, probably have their own 1-hour talk. But I want to talk, you know, the theme of the day is crossroads, of course. You know, I have been at the intersection of a lot of things in my career over the last, God, I guess I graduated from SVA. I know we're on enemy territory right here. But, and we have any SVA people? All right, that's what's up, 2007, 2008, I can't remember what year I graduated. SVA, you know, since then, over the last 17 years, I have been a graphic designer, an art director, an illustrator, a fine artist, a commercial artist, an illustrator, a muralist, an author, a writer, a poet. I've done a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats, and I firmly believe that you are what you say you are. Don't forget that shit. If you write, you're a writer. You know what I mean? If you paint, you're a painter. You don't have to have false humility. It's not about that. Stand firm in who you are and what you do. You are what you do. I really believe that. So, without further ado, can I read you a poem that I wrote? Just a quick little, you didn't know you were coming to a spoken word poetry session this morning. It's fucking early, you know? I've done this a couple times, like it always shocks me. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. All right, Miles, let's do it. Also, these guys, we got Miles Wilkins on keys and Marvin Carter on sax. They graduated from the new school, so give it up for them. So it's that one word, hello, that turns into 2 words, you're cute. That I always hope becomes 3 words, I love you. But all too often, the story ends with 4 words, go fuck yourself, dude. Because maybe these 5 words, do you have a condom, should stop happening before 6 important words like, maybe we should take it slow. And then I can stop asking myself 7 words like, when will you ever get it together? Or yelling 8 words at myself like, you stupid ass idiot, you lost a great girl. And simply understand these 9 words first. Treat them the way you want to be treated. And also learn 10 words like, don't be so hard on yourself. It will all, I messed up the poem. It's early. Don't be so hard on yourself. It will all work out. And then maybe one day, you'll be ready for these 11 words. Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? That's it. It's called 11 words. So that was like a vignette, a poem that I wrote and posted to Instagram years ago, and I've been writing these kind of things about relationships and dating and things I'm going through, therapy, my grandmother's death. It could be anything, and posting these on Instagram over the years. And it's been an incredible therapeutic experience because I want to be as human as possible. You know, I don't want to destroy or run or prove anything. I just want to be seen and I want to see. That's all I want to do with my art. Graphic design is great for, you know, working with a brand and making a brand money and having a great career or something. But I really want to I want to make you feel something. I don't care if it's corny. I don't care if maybe you hate it. I want to provoke an emotion. You know, it could be funny, it could be sad, and I want to strike a chord with that. And I'm always trying to work with that. I guess my slides are a little off. It's okay. Writers and artists and filmmakers have been doing this for years, and there's a stigma in the design community that you're not supposed to, create personal projects or create personal work, but we can use the tools we've learned to maybe start dialogues or make work that an audience hasn't seen before. And that's what I'm in it for, and that's what I've been trying to do for years with various projects, like my graphic memoir that came out last year. And I'm doing a book signing after this talk, so if anybody's around, if the books are, I know some of you have already purchased books, but they're being sold out in the hall along with some posters. So I'll be doing a book signing. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But and I've done various social experiments over the years, and I'm not really gonna talk about here. Maybe some of you know, like 40 Days of Dating. A lot of these projects with my good friend and colleague, Jessica Walsh. 40 Days of Dating was this project that turned into a book and was optioned for a movie. We've done all kinds of things. We had a Trump protest outside of Trump Tower in 2016 called Build Kindness, Not Walls. We've done a lot of things over the years. I learned many things from these projects. Number one, all art is political. Nothing we create is in a vacuum. We're in the business of consequence. If I create something and put it on a wall and someone's offended by that, it's my duty to listen, to learn, to unlearn, and to do better going forward, But, when everybody's kind of identity is politicized in this country, it's important to consider the work we're creating. The second thing I learned is if no one hates it, no one really loves it. That's a Tibor Kalman quote, actually. But it's true, like I want to be able to, and this idea of criticism is really interesting too, because I want to listen to criticism. I want to know why someone doesn't like something. I find I get much more from that than people saying that they love it. I want to be able to have those difficult conversations. Do we get any hip hop fans here? Yeah? All this kind of started years ago. Like I was obsessed with hip hop, and I loved all these album covers that had like baby pictures on their I was just like, oh man, all my favorite rappers put their baby pictures on their album covers. I just wanted to do the same. This has nothing to do with anything, all right? I just want to show you this because I'm proud of that. From Cleveland, we got any Cleveland people here, by the way? Okay, Cleveland Heights, Coventry. Okay, no, she's like no. But I was rebellious. I wanted to be bad. I would just look at all these logos, and I didn't even know why I liked them at the time. I was way too young to be listening to this shit. I was like 9, 10 years old. But I would be looking at this stuff, and I was like, man, the attitude that was captured in these like letter forms. And I was also a massive heavy metal fan. And so I would just study all these, and I was just, I was mesmerized by them. My graphic design career started when I was in high school because this is an actual tardy slip that we remade to match my high school's tardy slips. So we would go to the Office Max, get the exact paper. We would do it on Microsoft Word. We would find the right font to match it on Microsoft Word, and we would forge the teacher's signature so we could cut class. I didn't even know I was being a graphic designer already. It was so cool. I was really bad in high school. I barely graduated. I had like a 1.6 GPA or something. And then I started, it's a long story, but I was like painting homes. I didn't go to school right away. And then I was taking community college classes in Cleveland. Shout out Cuyahoga Community College. But I read this book because I don't come from money, and I wanted to go to a major art school somewhere, and I know how I was going to pay for it. And I read this book. And I was like, fuck, man, like this guy was teaching me how to write about myself, how to take my story, because if you're going to win a scholarship, you have to like differentiate yourself from the next person. I applied to over 100 scholarships over like 15 months. I won 10 of them. And that's why I'm here in New York, It was like because I was able to win that money to pay for some of my schooling at SVA. But this book changed my life. It's funny, I wrote this guy on Twitter. I found him like 5 years ago. And I wrote him, and I was like, you changed my life. Thank you so much for this. He just didn't even reply to me. I was just like, dude, you changed my life. Let's see what this is. Yeah, SVA. So I went to SVA. I did this project I did this thesis on what it meant to grow up without a father in the home, without like in a one-parent household. And I asked everybody in my dorm room, like 600 people, to write anonymously how you feel about your father in one sentence. It was incredible the responses I got back. Like, my father buys my love, or my dad isn't perfect, but he loves his family more than anything and sacrifices a lot to support us, or I feel very lucky, and yet I am afraid to disappoint him in the future due to his high expectations. Well, he's my dad, so I guess I have to love him. But just such honesty, And it really, like, that was like the beginning where I was like, oh, we can be like kind of a vessel for people, like as a designer or as an artist. Like, we can take other people's stories so that we can relate, And it was interesting, like as an authorship thing, what it did for me. And I was like, I want to do more of this stuff. Of course, when I graduated, I couldn't do that. I took a job. I was a book jacket designer at Simon & Schuster. This is like 2008, 2009. So this is like, the last bit of like when publishing maybe was like I was making like $20,000 a year. It wasn't like I was like really surviving, but I was doing what I could. It's crazy because, my book that's being sold here, my graphic memoir, I Always Take Us Forever, was published by Simon & Schuster. So it's this wild full circle moment that I started my career working for them. I was a book jacket designer. So, I had to create book jackets like this. Not very exciting. I had to work with the author and take one of their photos, or take a photo that was like stock and marry it with some type. But what I learned is what they say in the movies: do one for them, do one for you. Do one for them, do one for you. So for every like, kind of shitty book jacket that I had to do, I would do one that was more, expressive, one that I wanted to really present to the client, and maybe I would do 10 of these, and then every once in a while, they would go with one of these. So I learned a valuable lesson for that, and I wanted to author more things, and I was at a real crossroads, as they might say, like trying to figure out where I was going. So then I took a job at Collins. Maybe some of you know Brian Collins here in New York. And that was right when he started his firm. I could do a whole talk about this. We're not going to talk about, but it was an incredible experience to be able to work at a branding firm that demands so much excellence, and I learned a lot of things at that time. But I worked there for 2.5 years, and then I moved to San Francisco. This is like 3 or 4 years after college to work at this small boutique. Maybe you've heard of them. It was incredible. I could get my teeth fixed, I could tell, my mom finally could tell her friends what I did for a living. They were giving me stock? What? A graphic designer? There was a lot going for it, but I had to move to San Francisco, and I had to work and, do a lot of things that it wasn't exciting to me at the time, and I was really struggling about what it meant to leave New York and to work for a firm like Apple. And I remember I took the Apple job, and it was 2 weeks before I was going to move to San Francisco to go work there. And I saw this on the side of a building in New York City. And this is the picture I took back in 2010. I was like, holy shit, someone got paid to scribble on a side of a building. How is that even possible? Like, how do you even become someone that someone would know to hire someone to do something like that? Like, it blew my mind. And I took this photo. Fast forward a couple months later, I'm living in San Francisco, and I met a guy at a party. We introduced ourselves. I asked him what he did for a living. He looked at me and said, whatever I can get away with. I never forgot this guy's face, man. And there's a lot of privilege built in this statement, of course. But what it taught me was just like, of course, like Andy Warhol said, art is what you can get away with, all these things. But it was just like, go make time for the things you need to do, for the things you really want to do. And that doesn't have to be some passion project. It could be a garden. It could be learning French, like I attempted to do 6 years ago. It could be a lot of different things, And I went back and I found that photo. And I was like, this is my beacon. I made it my screensaver for like 4 years. And I was like, I want to try to become someone who could, I didn't want to scribble on the side of a building, of course. I later learned that this guy got paid like $60,000 for this, Carl Handel. But I wanted to do my own version of what that scribble was. Because when you working at Apple, working in branding, maybe a lot of you know, working at agencies, you have to deal with a lot of jargon. Storyteller, design thinking, brand values, systemic platforms, disruptor. I don't know what any of this shit means. I'm fundamentally much more interested in words like mistakes and humor and artfulness and unexpectedness and poetry. And how do I infuse that in my work more? How do I connect to people through those kinds of sentiments? So I left Apple, crossroads. And I found the almighty Sharpie marker. This is not endorsing Sharpie, just paint markers. This is really about paint markers. I did this mural while I was still working at Apple, and I left Apple because I was doing so much side work at nights and weekends because I just wanted to go. If I could just pay my rent that's all I needed to know to have the courage to leave a job and have everybody tell me that I was making a huge mistake, to move back to New York, and to feel fulfilled trying to do the things I really wanted to do, if I could just pay my rent. And so I got this incredible opportunity. Now, I was working at Apple, so sometimes you take free work if you really feel like, I was in a privileged position to be able to have a full-time job, and I wanted to leverage this. So I was asked to do a mural in Ace Hotel here in New York City. This is back 15 years ago. Maybe when the hotel is a little cooler. I don't know what it's like now. But I wanted to draw all these things that could be passed to the common tourists. They wanted me to do a mural in the hotel, in one of the rooms. And so I just was like, okay, this was like an editorial thing for me. I was like, everything that could be passed to common tourists, a great place to get a hamburger or a milkshake or a park or whatever. I locked myself in this room I think it was like Memorial Day weekend, it was like 3 or 4 days, I was crying. It took me, I was working all day and I was trying to project it. I didn't know how to do this shit. I was just like, it was beyond me. But I walked away. I was so mentally, physically, and spiritually stimulated when I walked away. And I didn't get paid for this, you know? But I was like, I just felt like, I asked myself an important question. I said, how do I make this feeling last forever? You know, kind of the stimulation that I felt. And I was like, I'm going to use everything I can to try to leverage this, to get more of this kind of work. I had no grand plan to kind of like, it wasn't like I had a grand plan like, oh, I'm going to be a Sharpie marker person or whatever. It was just like, that was what the kind of, I was like, oh, I just want to draw these things. I guess I'll use a paint marker. Ask some friends how you do it, you know. That's little Timmy. You know, but it's funny, so I started doing this kind of work, and I remember I had this guy I know who's kind of a friend. He said, how are your little doodles going? And it was so condescending. I'll never forget that. But so I'm a Cancer sun, Scorpio moon. So I can be very petty, and I'm very emotional. I'm an HSP, I'm a highly sensitive person. So we got any Cancer suns here? That's what's up. Sometimes you gotta make work to make people jealous. So, you know, over the last, 15 years, I have created illustrations, murals, artwork for every major brand in the United States and globally that you can kind of think of. And I still think about that guy. Now, listen, I am in therapy. I've been in therapy for a long time. So I'm working on it. I acknowledge this, you know. But run it back, baby, run it back. But you know, a lot of this work is, you know, I work on my iPad, and it's like jazz. It's like Marvin and Miles. It's like I have to just like let it come out. You know, so much of my style, and I think a lot of styles, is about your personal behaviors kind of influencing your style. I am an inherently impatient person. I want to get shit done, and I want to get it moving, you know? And that doesn't mean I'm not going to sit there and draw all over a wall for 3 days straight for 12 hours. But there's like there's a movement to it. I have to just keep moving, and I can't think about it. And so that's kind of like, you know, really pushed my style. Now I want to show you, a kind of a tour of some of the murals that I've done over the last, you know, this isn't all, you know, I've only been recording my murals like really for the last like 7 or 8 years. Now we have a licensing problem. This would have been a really good moment. There's some great hip hop that would have been playing. So just imagine like your favorite hip hop song playing over this time lapse of these many murals that I've done over the years. And so, you know, like I said, so much of this is improv to me, and it's about, I have to fill up an entire canvas. I can't let any little centimeter go, you know? Yes, I've been arrested doing street art. I love it, ooh. Yeah. All right, you get the point. So I love this quote by Keith Haring, who's obviously a massive influence of mine. I assumed after all that the point of making art was to communicate and to contribute to culture. And you know, the more and more I do this, you know, so many people start out, maybe they're doing work, public art, and then they go commercial. I've gone the opposite way, you know, coming from obviously commercial design background, and then, you know, and now I do much more public art, whether I'm doing it with organizations or schools or for myself. But it's really important because I need to make work for New York City, for New Yorkers. That is such an important part of my manifesto at this point. It was a major crossroads that I had to go through to kind of convert to that. Like doing this, you know, drawing all over this basketball court for the students at PS 315 in Brooklyn, New York. Working with kids, working with students, doing stuff for charity organizations. It's wild because, you know, this is a court that I did with Kevin Durant's charity foundation. He refurbishes basketball courts for you know, kids and students all over the country. And so by doing this, it led to, you know, and like, there's something really important about it because when you create public art, I walk away, it's no longer mine. You know, it's theirs. It's that communities, it's that streets, it's the kids. They get to say, I got the dopest basketball court you've ever seen. You know, it's theirs. And that's really powerful and really important for me, that sense of community, you know, which is why we're all here. It's wild because that led to creating, Kevin asking me to do his KD 15. See, there's a shoe that comes out every year with Nike, and we created this shoe together, which was just blew my mind to be able to work with Nike and have a shoe. It's legally called the Timothy Goodman KD 15, which is wild. And I've never felt more short in my life. I'm 6'3". But you know, it just reminds me that art is the thing that people forget they need until they need it. You know, it's like you're going through a heartbreak and you're in the grocery store and that corny Phil Collins song comes on and suddenly it fucking kills you. You know, it's like we need that. We need to feel like, you know, and it's the same thing with, I think, public art where, you know, I want to talk about things that are hard to talk about. You know, I want to be able to talk about, and I work with a lot of small businesses. You know, I ask them, your gate's all tagged up. Can I use your gate? Can we create a piece of art together? And it's an incredible kind of community experience to work with people. And I want to talk about the things. It's a privilege to be able to make street art. You know, I'm a cishet, tall white man on the street, and I want to be able to, if I'm going to do this and not be arrested or something, I want to be able to say something for people, for the streets. You know, and it's wild because sometimes I'm doing these, like, I love to do them very early in the morning. And, you know, like this one I was working on, this incredible older woman, she must have been in her late 80s, just like a real New York moment, man. She just came up to me and she's like, she had a $10 bill. She's like, please take this $10 bill. And I said, no, ma'am, what are you doing? Thank you so much for, creating a piece of art for my street, and it makes me so proud. And it was like, ma'am, please keep your $10. Thank you so much. But it's just like, that's fucking New York, you know? And that's why I'm so happy to be here speaking with all of you. I know not all of you are New Yorkers, but most of you are here. I know some of you are traveling. You know, here's an incredible experience. You got the coolest truck, man.
Get a lot of attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah?
Yeah.
A lot of people always stopping you?
Always, bro, always. They love it.
I'm the artist, man.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm Timothy.
That's sick. How you doing? Nice to meet you,
Nice
bro.
to meet you. Yeah, that's sweet, man. What's up?
We loved it, bro.
Yeah, man, it's good to hear. This is
recording, taking pictures, and I tell them, I'm like, the artist's name is right here.
Oh, man, appreciate you.
Definitely. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, man. So this is a sanitation truck that I drew all over for the city of New York. And it's those moments when it's like, it was the first time I ever saw it in the wild. You know, I did it like in a factory in Queens. And now it's wild because it's like all over Soho and West Village and in this area. And I saw it, you know, and it's just like, it's New York. You know, I left my house, I was writing about this on Threads the other day. I left my house the other day, Monday morning, you know, after like all the Trump tariff stuff. And everyone, you know, and I left really, I had to go do something really early, 6 a.m. And I'm walking down the street and I saw, not these guys, but different sanitation truck men. And one guy yelled at me, man, you're up so early. You trying to make up for these tariffs? And I was just like, my heart was just so, I just fucking love New York, you know? Everybody is incredible in New York. Everybody is funny. Everybody just is so full of life, you know? And that's why, as expensive as this place is, and it's hard to make it as an artist, it's like why I want to continue to try to stay here is for that kind of inspiration, the people, the humanness that comes with it. So I've been showing you all this kind of work that I've been doing. Obviously, like we haven't talked a lot about like a lot of the digital work that I've done, but obviously you saw that sizzle reel. I work with I do lots of packaging, and I do lots of brand partnerships and patterns and clothing that requires digital work. And I've been showing you all these murals I do by hand, but I've been playing with AI, of course. Like this is a topic that all of us designers and artists are thinking about these days. So I've been trying to work with them to see if they can kind of mimic the kind of work I make. You know, I'll say, can you make a piece of art that says no heart, no art? in a black marker, hand-drawn style on white background, bold lines, high contrast, expressive, artistic, raw, emotional, clean lines, minimalist, high quality, no color, in a style similar to the artist Timothy Goodman. Also, please do not draw a heart. Listen, I know we're all scared of AI, and eventually they're going to come for me. They haven't gotten there yet, so I'm holding on tight. I'm holding on tight. How much time do we have? We're getting tight here. Have we gone past? Oh my God, okay. Really quickly, this is it, I'm almost there. Okay. We shouldn't have to die in order for our stories to be important. Okay, so much of who I am and what I do is because of my grandmother. She passed 2 years ago. Wait, is this gonna play? Oh no, okay. She passed, so her whole life, she was traveling, well, not her whole life, since she was about 48, she's been traveling, and she makes these incredible scrapbooks. This is when she went to Ireland by herself at 80 years old. And her beautiful penmanship and all, she would just document the entire journey. She's got like 50 of these things. So when she passed 2 years ago in April, almost 2 years ago, so many of us got these scrapbooks, and I tried to get the best ones, of course. I was her favorite grandson. I was the only artist who followed her. She's an artist. She worked in ceramics. She was a she worked with pastels. She was this incredible, expressive artist who everything was art in her life. But she would make these incredible scrapbooks. And it wasn't until she passed that I realized that my book, which, by the way, again, I'm selling here, and we'll do I'll be doing a signing. My book is just an elaborate scrapbook of my time in Paris 6 years ago and how I went and fell in love and got heartbroken. I had to deal with and it's a whole year of my life and dealing with, family traumas and healing and all these things. And it's just this elaborate scrapbook similar to what my grandma would make. And it's just, I didn't ever really put that together. So much of what I do, the 40 days of dating, these social experiments, it's all like about a time capsule in my life, like my grandma would do. So I just want to share with you, we had 1:30, okay. This book that my grandmother made for my grandfather that I didn't even know existed until after she passed. It was for their 50th wedding anniversary. And I'll just play this for you here. For my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, my grandmother created a tiny little book called Travels with Anne and Hugh. It documents 30 years of trips she and my grandfather went on together. Because my grandparents had 4 kids and my grandma went back to school in her late 30s for art, their traveling days didn't really start until she was about 48 years old. She writes on their trip to Egypt how to explain the heat, the sand, the fabulous temples, the trip of a lifetime. Sailing up the Nile was the stuff of dreams. This trip left an indelible impression on us. As an artist, my grandmother was always documenting her life with scrapbooks, journals, and art, just like myself. When my mother gave me this, I cried almost immediately after seeing her beautiful penmanship I admired so much as a little boy. She died on April 23rd after a hard battle with dementia, and she's the single biggest influence on my creative journey. She left an indelible impression on me forever. Love you, Graham. And, she would say things like this to me all the time, to ground me and remind me of like what an honor and a privilege it is to be in this position and how hard it is for any artist, any creative person, any of you to make it here, and you're not always going to be satisfied, but it is important to smell the roses and remember that we're making a living being creative. And yes, we want more and you want the next thing, but don't forget that because society is not built for us to thrive in so many ways. And so, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. So we're going to do a Q&A?
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone have a question for Timothy? If you do, and I hand you the mic, stand up and say your name. Okay.
Tina, I got over here.
Okay.
Hi, Timothy. I'm Ruzan.
Hi.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Could you please tell us about the power of solitude in your journey, and whether it's in creativity or in your decisions that you make? Just talk us through it.
No, that's a really important question. You know, like I've taught, you know, not to make this early morning therapy session, but no, I've talked about this a lot, like online and stuff. Like I feel incredibly lonely a lot, like existentially. You know, like no matter how good things could be going, or, you know, I just feel that inherent kind of like loneliness at the bottom of it all, like this meaningless. And I don't mean that to be so morbid, but it's like, it's really important because it does drive my creativity in a lot of ways. So I didn't talk about, like, I'm at a crossroads right now because I'm kind of doing, you know, every moment that I'm like, every time I'm like in a new version of like creativity, like I'm always doing the kind of brand work and stuff, that's my bread and butter, and I love doing that. But I'm always using that as a way to kind of like harness to do another passion project. So whether it's a book or an art show, right now I'm working on a documentary about these incredible old New York City artists who I've known for years. And it's just an incredible kind of experience putting together, you know, interviewing them, directing this, putting together this footage, editing it. And, you know, it's just like, they're doing it for this. Some of these people are in their 80s still making work, and it's not about success. It's just about the need to make and to express yourself, you know, and to be able to connect to other lonely people in the world. You know, my book is dedicated to the lonely people. And so that's like what I'm in it for, you know, is because I feel that loneliness and I want to just connect to other people who have shared human experiences. So it drives everything. So thank you. Yeah. Another question?
Hello, my name's
Hi.
Anne. Love your work around the city, and thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Speaking of work around the city, making art in public spaces, this is more technical or legal perhaps, but maybe suggestions or recommendations for creating public art in ways that may help you not get arrested.
Well, so the rest, I don't do a lot of, like I said, I think it's important because this is what I do, and there's ways, you know, obviously, like I have a kind of a body of work to show, but maybe you've never done it, so you would have to create some sort of sketch or something. But I talk to small business owners. I go and say, I've noticed that you have this gate that's, I'm always like, when I'm around the city, I'm always like taking notes, like, oh, there's a gate right there. Like, maybe I can reach out to that small business. You know, maybe I can reach out to this person. And so a lot of the times I'm just asking. Sometimes it's just wild how it's just like you forget. You can just simply go and present yourself and ask them and show them your work. And a lot of times people will let you do it because it's like, to them, it's like their gate is constantly getting tagged or something. So they have like a piece of art on the street. It's like they much rather have that. And so, you know, and with gate, you know, if you reach out to me, I can tell you, but with gates, it's very easy. There's these kind of like large spray paint cans, and they have a very thick knot. And it's literally, you can just go whoosh, 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 and base coat it, like black or white or whatever you want that base coat. And suddenly it's just like an empty canvas for you. So ask, you know, and then if you've never, like I tell people all the time, if you've never done something, then just make a sketch to show you that you can do it. Like take a picture of the gate, bring it into Photoshop, black it out, put a sketch, you know, make a sketch, put it in present how it will look. You know, if you've never done a book jacket and you want to try to get book jacket work, to do the same thing. You know, people need to see that you can do this kind of work. So I would start there. You can reach out, you know, I've worked with a lot of schools, charity organizations, you can reach out to schools. I've done this, you know, where I'm just like, I would love to create a mural for the students here. You know, is there a way we can work together? Is there any empty walls? You know, you try to, you know, have those conversations. Maybe the students can help, you know, it can be like a workshop kind of a thing. Yeah.
Good morning. Thanks so much. This is definitely one of my favorite. I'm up here. Can you
Oh,
see?
hi.
Okay. One of my favorite Creative Mornings. I just wanted to ask what was the new screensaver on your computer where you had that 4 years of squiggle, and I was just curious.
I haven't had, you know, I should do that again. I haven't done that in a long time.
What's your next big goal?
Well, like I said, like well, there is one thing I could maybe, Well, I'm working on a documentary right now that is just taking over, and it's so thrilling and stimulating. It just like brings me back. It brings me back to like the first mural I ever did, or the first time I did some exciting thing. You know, it's like that kind of that nervous feeling. You don't quite know if it's good, and that's a really rich place to be in. You know, it's like you're scared to show somebody, but you're excited. It's like those are the places you want to be. So that's really what I'm doing. There's another thing that I'm going to launch with somebody very well known that you all will know that is exciting, but I don't know if I should just like, because it's not official yet, so I don't know if I should like, I've given you enough.
You officially teased us, Timothy. Let's give him a rock star round of
thank you.
applause.
Okay. Sorry to go over.
30-second pictures, please come to the front. All right, as our 30-second pictures come to the front, just come on right over here, line up. Caitlin, you can meet Caitlin right here. I'm just going to explain the rules. 30-second pitches last for only 30 seconds. I will be timing, and I will be walking towards you slowly so that you know that your time is running out, and unfortunately, you cannot go beyond 30 seconds. So y'all got to be fast, okay? Who is going to be our first 30-second pitcher? Yes, Mark. Yes, you got it. Ready?
Yep.
Come right here in the spotlight.
Thanks, Exa. Yes. Show of hands. Who's heard of Shel Silverstein? Okay, awesome. Who's heard of any other children's poetry? Okay, not as many. Okay. So I'm Mark Weissman. I have a book of poetry for children called Origins. It's a playful take on cosmic themes. Here's one of the poems called Helium. The first bond, then you came along with your red balloon. I'm looking for an agent or publisher or a friend. Thank you so much, Creative Mornings and Timothy.
I didn't step up. All right, our next friend, come on up.
Hello, hi. My name is Desmond Du, and I'm a motion designer and creative technologist. I love motion design, but my real passion is teaching. I love teaching and sharing knowledge. I even have a YouTube channel called No Sleep Creative that's dedicated to After Effects and motion design tutorials. So I'm pitching to teach. I'm looking for opportunities that allows me to share my knowledge, share my expertise, and this could be in like a workshop setting, be in a school, or for your team, or one-to-one, or any other educational opportunity you can think of. Thank you.
We're doing great, y'all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cully, and I'm based in the Ridgewood area, and I'm working on opening a non-alcoholic bar in that area. I would love to partner with artists. I'm also looking to partner with people in the health and wellness space, as well as tech, because I want to eventually do events in those areas. Please reach out to me. I'm on Instagram at barnun.life. It's barnun.life. If you're interested in partnering. And I'm also selling a non-alcoholic drink that is made with fermented flowers. So reach out if you want to learn more about that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fiona Lanning, and I wasn't expecting to get picked. But my pitch is a book for children in New York and hopefully around the world. It's inspired by my daughter. She's 4. It's called Can I Touch Your Dog? I want it to be illustrated, based on New York, and it teaches children how to approach and pet dogs because there's so many of them around here. So I'm looking for illustrators, artists, or guidance.
All right, thank you to our 30-second pitchers. Very brave to come up here. Reminder that their emails and all their contact will be in the follow-up. There's more coffee and food, so after Tina shares the close, come back downstairs and get some.
All right, thank you, Exa. I want to thank our wonderful volunteer team. Without them, these events would not run as smoothly. So thank you, Abby, Alicia, Angelica, Brian, Brianna, Caitlin, Celestine, Christina, Daniel, Exa, Katie, Kevin, Krista, Lena, Lenny, Maria, Marie, Megan, Meredith, Ricardo, Cece, Sky, and Whitney. And then thanks to Connie, you can watch these talks again, and they go online. Thank you, Connie, and thanks to Nelson, who by the way, shot every single event last year and has been here. His track record is unbelievable. You can see how good you looked today. And thanks to Brandon and Matthew, you can watch the live stream. So thank you all so much. And you can hire all these people. They're so reliable and so great. And next month, very exciting, we have Yancy Strickler, the co-founder of Kickstarter and former CEO of Kickstarter, speak at L'Alliance. He's currently building a really cool new project. It's called Meta Label. And while we're talking of upcoming events, in June, we're going to be at the Morgan Library, and Jennifer, who's the reason why that is possible, is here today. So I'm so excited for the next 2 months ahead of us. We can't wait for you to see you there. And as always, I want to leave you with a quote. This one is from Angela Davis. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world, and you have to do it all the time. So thank you for joining us today. Remember, Timothy is signing books outside, so go and take advantage of that. And thank you, Parsons. Anthony, we love you, and we see you next month.
You got it, baby.
Thank you.